Okay, Miss Chris. Block number 8. Sew the classics. All right. Oh, it's another star. Background fabric, medium fabric, and dark fabric. Okay, let's see what we have here. Background fabric. Medium fabric was probably going to be that. Okay, we said this was the medium, probably this center here. And then this is the dark, which is there. So out of the dark, we're cutting the 4.5 inch squares. Then we're going to cut the 4 squares once diagonally. So you could see how they're right there. Then from the medium, we're just going to make this a 4.5 inch square. Easy peasy. And then from, oh, that was the dark background fabric. The dark fabric, we're going to do 4 squares and cut those in diagonally. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so the direction says cut 4.5 inch squares from the background, not this one here. So we will cut a strip at 4.5, and since we don't know if that's real straight edge, we're going to cut off 4.25. 1, 2, 3. Oh, got the wrong one. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. I'm going to scooch it over a little because look, it's kind of straight. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Left over in there. And we're just going to turn this one around. Get 4.5. Yep. Okay. 4.5. Now we need to get 4. Oh, we got to get, I should 4 inch squares. So first we've got to get 4.5 inch squares. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we cut that one crooked, kind of. So 2. I'm gonna cut that edge off because I knew I was crooked there. So there's 1 4.5. One, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay, so you got 4 there. Now it says to do 4 4-inch squares. So now we'll do 4-inch squares. We'll use this side. 4-inch, come here. 4-inch. 2. We're gonna square that off. Extra. Now we gotta do these. Four-inch squares. Okay, so we got those. Now this one needs to be 4.5. I think I'm going to do it on this here so I can turn it easier. We want the 1/2 inch, 4.5 inch. We're going to do it. I guess we should. Because 4.5. 4.5. I'm just trying to get a straight edge because I know I cut that one. And then 4.5. Whoops. 4.5. Now we know it's 4.5 there. So we got that one. Now we cut 4 squares out of the dark. Okay. And of course, I'm going to do 4.25 because I want to cut off, make sure I have straight edges. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm using this line right here from the selvage to make my line straight. So four-inch squares. So 4. There we go. Four-inch. 4, 4. So there's 2. Three and 4. So now we have all our pieces cut. We got 4 4-inch squares. We've got the centers of 4.5. We've got these 4.5-inch squares, and then 4.5 fours. Now it says to cut the 4 squares, cut once on the diagonal. Okay, so we're not going to cut that, we're not going to cut that, but we are going to cut these. So I'm going to match these up and do them all at once. Scary, scary. There we go. Okay, from point to point. Get that point. And that point. Okay, don't go anywhere. Okay, got my diagonals on that one. And now it says on the dark fabric. We're going to do the same thing. Cut squares diagonally. I'm going to do it this way. That looks pretty good. Okay, dokie. Point to point. Point there, and we cut. Oh, didn't like it. There we go. So now we have these. Okay. Now we gotta go sew. Follow me to the sewing machine. Okay, pay attention. When you are sewing these together, you don't want to sew on the long side, on the bias, okay? You want to sew from the one of the short sides. The reason being, this is the proper piece you want, you know? If you sew it on the bias rather than on the side here, you're going to get this. You don't want that. If you do that, then you're going to have to take them all apart and start all over again. But once you do that, you get your pieces together to remember that you have your dark spot on the same place. What I did was I made sure that the dark was on the bottom and I sewed on the right side of the white so that all of them were the same. So you'll see that right here. If you do sew it on the long side, this is how I undid my stitches. I went a few because you don't want to stretch it, and by doing it the other way, going on the inside and doing that, you have a tendency to stretch the fabric. So now that I plucked some threads from the other side, I can come on the light side, lift up the thread, and not really stretching it too much, and that comes out. So keep that in mind if you have to undo something on undo your stitches that are on the bias. You don't want to stretch your fabric. Okay, let's go back to sewing that correctly. And if I didn't mention earlier, start at the top of the pyramid and come down rather than sewing at the bottom of the pyramid and coming down here. It prevents any stretching that may occur that you start from down here. So start, you can see the threads going like this, so it makes it a stronger and less stitching will happen. Stretching. Okay, now that we've got all that stitched properly, again, because I do not have my iron, I'm going to have to finger press these, and don't have to worry about too much about stretching because it is on the straight grain. So, and I'm going to fold them to the dark side. I start in the middle, go the way out. Start in the middle, go the way out. And there you go. Have everything finger pressed. Now we're going to do this section where we're going to put two of those triangles together to make a square, and we're going to do it this way. So of course, because they're already finger pressed to the dark, they will nest. And now all you have to do is take this. If you want to pin it, you can, or you can just go ahead and sew it if you feel comfortable. Let's see if I can get this. The dark side. Can make sure that that's right there. And let's see, I'm going to cut this off. See how we did. Pretty good. Okay, let's do the rest. Okay, now we have to square these up actually to 4.5. So I'm going to put the point up here, find my 4.5 here, and my 4.5 would be right here. So I know I'm going to have to cut off another, this side here. So got my point there, point there. That's what I'm looking for. And okay, turn it. 4.5. I know I'm probably confusing you, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and see I have the half there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have a half there. I've got a point there, a point there, and a point there, so that's what we want. Now I know I have a 4.5-inch square, and I've got my points still. Okay, here we go again. There we go. That looks much better. Much better. Much better. There we go. Okay, let's sew these together. Okay, here we go. Sign. Oh, yeah. Oh, it works. Okay. This is my second row, the middle row. And then the bottom row. So now, take this one. This was my top row. Put this one here. Yep. There we go. Oops, didn't go past that. Okay, now that I've got my rows done, I got to finger press them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the middle one and finger press these to the center. Okay, finger press to the center, and these I'm going to finger press to the outside so that when I put them together they will nest. So to the outside, and Now I'm going to pin them. So it's pinning time. So here we go. Nest them. Make sure those match. Nest these guys. Attach them. Nest this. And nest this. Nest, nest, nest. And I'm going to do the other side too. Did I do this right? I think so. Yeah. I wanted to make sure I had those triangles going the right way. Hold those together. La 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 la. I'm singing to you, Chris, or whoever is watching this. I was told by my children when they were babies, when I would sing to them, I had a beautiful voice. Now, when I try to sing to them, they yell at me. How rude of them, huh? They loved it when they were babies. They said I sound awful now. Whatever, children. The memories you have, or I sang you to sleep, or I bored you to sleep, one or the other. I'd like to say I soothed you to sleep, not bored you to sleep. But it could be that. I don't know. Anyways, speaking of singing, I'll stop. And I'll let my Singer sewing machine. Oh, see what happened when I looked away? I made a quicker line. Trying to show you my Singer sewing machine. Okay, one more. Hold that thread. Hold that thread. Okay, there we go. Almost done with block number 8. Uh-oh, I felt that thing slip up. This is gonna look so much prettier once I get the iron to it. So right now, it's gonna be a little floppy, but that's okay. I'm done. Whoops. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Ta-da! What do you think? Purdy. Purdy? Purdy? Alright, kiddo. Well, there's our sewing. Didn't match very good. I thought I did. Oh well, it looks good enough for me. Because it's just going to be a fun quilt that someday I will gift to someone. Don't know who, but someone. So, here it is, block number 8. All done. Okay, till the next block.